Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKakadash, double honor to the elders, apostles of the great millstone who rule well in teaching this 100% truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with 144,000. Salutations, Shalaki. So this quick video is going to be called Trump is Coming for the Natural and Birthright Citizens. He's coming for the natural, the naturalized, and the birthright citizen. What does it mean to you, Jake? What does it mean for you? So I'm gonna let this play. This is fair use, fair use. This is not for monetary gain, but for educational purposes only, fair use.
Now.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Trump administration's ramping up efforts to strip more naturalized immigrants of their U.S. citizenship. That's according to a report in the New York Times, which found internal guidance issued this week to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services field offices ask that they supply Office of Immigration Litigation with 100 to 200 denaturalization cases per month in the next fiscal year. The Times reports it would represent a massive escalation of denaturalization in the modern era. The news comes less than 2 weeks after the Supreme Court agreed to hear a case to decide the constitutionality of President Trump's executive order aiming to end birthright citizenship. To talk about all of this, as well as the latest threat by the Trump administration that was issued last night to end the visa diversity program, which leads to a green card for so many. We're joined now by May Nye, professor of Asian American Studies and History at Columbia University. Much of her work focuses on immigration, citizenship, and nationalism. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Professor Nye. It's great to have you with us. Let's start off.
Thanks for having me, Amy. Great to be here.
Explain for people who don't quite understand, what is it to be a naturalized citizen? And then what does it mean that the Trump administration wants to revoke that citizenship from 1 to 200 people a month?
The United States has two kinds of citizens: those who are born in this country, who are automatically citizens by birth. That's what we call birthright citizenship. And naturalized citizens, those people who are immigrants who can apply to become a citizen after they've been here for 5 years, take a test on civics, have no criminal record, etc. The Constitution treats both kinds of citizens equally. Birthright citizens and naturalized citizens are treated the same under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. And we have naturalized close to 10 million people in the last 10 years. So there's a large number of foreign-born Americans who are citizens of this country. Now, to give you some context on what does it mean?
The mayor-elect of New York, right? Zohran Mamdani is a naturalized citizen. He was born in Uganda.
That's right. And Trump has explicitly threatened to strip Mamdani of his citizenship.
So keep going with your explanation now.
Okay, so to give you some context, what does it mean to say they want 100 to 200 cases per month? During the first Trump administration, they had 25 cases per year. And before that, for the 15 years before the first Trump administration, they had fewer than 15 cases per year. So this is an incredible escalation. I want to say that it's doubtful that they can actually do this, that they can bring that many cases, or that they can successfully prosecute that many cases. But it's like the mass deportation program. You know, they have no way to reach their goal of 3,000 ICE arrests per month. But they have spread terror and fear throughout immigrant communities, and now that is going to spread to our fellow citizens who are naturalized.
So how does this happen? How does it start? If I were a naturalized citizen, I get a notice that I am going to lose my citizenship?
No, they can't do that. DHS or Citizen Immigration Services cannot unilaterally revoke your citizenship. They have to go to a U.S. attorney, and the U.S. Attorney's Office has to file a civil suit in federal court, and it has to go before a judge. So it's a long process. Every individual case has to be tried. And let me say, Amy, the grounds to denaturalize a citizen are very, very narrow indeed. You have to show that the citizen lied on their application in a way that was meaningful to the outcome. So, for example, we mostly know about people who are war criminals who hid their past, people who were members of the Nazi Party during World War II. Those are the most famous cases. So you have to have misrepresented yourself and hidden or committed fraud on your application about something that would have been consequential. Now, in June, the Trump administration expanded the list of reasons why they could revoke somebody's naturalization. These include association with gangs or cartels, people who have been involved in human trafficking, people who have committed financial fraud against the government or private individuals or entities. That's an interesting one. And so they have expanded the grounds considerably. And speaking of Mandani, I think one of the things we have to be very concerned about is their use of political difference with the Trump administration. I can imagine that they will selectively try to prosecute American citizens who are naturalized, who have spoken out against Israel's genocide in Gaza. Mandani has been accused of being, a Hamas supporter, which is not true, but he does support Palestine. So this is going to be, I think, a new ground upon which we see the struggle for political speech.
You say that both birthright citizenship and naturalized citizenship are protected by the 14th Amendment. So go now to birthright citizenship and what's going before the Supreme Court.
On day one of Trump taking office, he declared he was going to deny birthright citizenship to babies born to undocumented migrants and temporary immigrants, people like foreign students or guest workers. Now, this has been challenged in the courts. It's been turned down by several circuit courts, and now it's before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear it. And this is something that has over 100 years of precedence in our country, and this would be a terrible blow if Trump were to, or if the Supreme Court were to uphold Trump's executive order.
And explain what birthright citizenship is.
It simply means that any person born on the soil of the United States, save for those who are born to foreign diplomats or an invading army, which we don't have that circumstance, but anybody born on U.S. soil is, by that fact, a citizen of the United States. And there are, I think, some 300,000 babies born every year to people who are undocumented or temporary immigrants who have citizenship. I'm a birthright citizen.
Explain.
My parents were immigrants, but I'm a birthright citizen. Well, I was born in this country. I was born in the Bronx. My parents were immigrants. They had come from China, and they later became naturalized citizens. But the time I was born, they were immigrants. And I was born here, and so I'm a citizen.
So let's go to President Trump speaking from the White House in June about his plans to end birthright citizenship.
We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
You see, they always use Judah, as an scapegoat. Oh yeah, but it was only made for Judah, like they using us as a good example of this is why, this is only meant for Judah, like you was really doing us a fucking favor.
So talk about what it's meant for, Professor Nye.
Well, it was originally meant for the babies of the former slaves. That is true. But it was upheld by the Supreme Court in 1898 in a Chinese case called Wang Kemark. And the court said that it applied to the children of immigrants as well, including Chinese immigrants, which the court had no great love for. And at that time, the court said, if we eliminate birthright citizenship for the Chinese, the citizenship of all the children of all the Europeans who've come here would be in jeopardy. So the court knew that this was a far-reaching provision of the Constitution, and it upheld it. And it's been upheld, ever since.
I wanted to go what happened just last night. The Trump administration has suspended the diversity visa lottery program in the wake of the mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of the MIT physics professor Nuno Loureiro. The suspect, which seems to be the same person in both cases, was found dead in a New Hampshire storage facility, self-inflicted wound, named Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. He entered the country on a student visa in 2000. He went to Brown apparently as a physics graduate student, was in that building where the young people were shot up this past weekend. So he got a visa, a student visa in 2000, and then apparently was granted a green card through the visa diversity program in 2017. Now the Trump administration is saying, based on this one person, they're going to end this? What exactly is the diversity visa program, what's called a green card program, and what would it mean?
First of all, I want to say that it's an utter tragedy what happened at Brown and MIT. And this is typical of the Trump administration to weaponize unfortunate instances like this to pursue a different agenda. The diversity visa program was passed by Congress in 1990. It allows for 50,000 green cards to be given to people in a lottery system. Now, people may know that the regular system, you have to have a family member in this country or a guarantee of employment from an employer. So the diversity option through the lottery is just for anybody. Now, they instituted that in 1990 in the hopes of bringing in more white people, Irish, Eastern Europeans, etc. But what happened in the diversity was that a lot of people who got the lottery were from Africa or other countries. So there've been calls in Congress to get rid of it because it's not what it was intended for, which was to make the immigration stream more white. And I think all of these things are just indices of the Trump administration's bigger agenda, which is to make this country a white Christian nation, to strip people of their citizenship. They're going to go after certain kinds of people. Obviously, we see in the mass deportation system, we see in their end to the amnesty programs and refugee programs, and we see in the attempt to eliminate the diversity, which actually has to be done by Congress. But, they do all these things because they don't like the color or the politics of the people who come to this country.
Last quick question. A federal judge this week ruled.
So, yeah, with Esau, he's coming down fast, man. His kingdom is falling fast. So he's coming out with a lot of wrath. This is the book of Sirach and Apocrypha, chapter 14, we'll begin at verse 5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? This devil, Esau, Edom, is evil even to himself. You know, the Lord made him wicked. He made him the wicked. So, you know, he played out the wicked not only to all nations on the earth, especially the tribe of Israel, but even to himself. He got to breathe the same air he pollute, live in the same land that he pollutes, you know, destroy, poison the food. And also he makes the grievous laws that he's going to suffer from as well, his own people. And he's trying to get over here. All the Edomites he's trying to get over here, they're going to be subjected to being deported. He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Right. So like the lady said, you know, and back in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, they made it where if the slaves have babies, that the child of the slave is a citizen. You think that they like that? They hate that they made that law. You know, he don't take pleasure in making that law pass. There is no worse than he that envieth himself, and this is his recompense of his wickedness, because that's what Esau is. Esau can't get enough. You know, his desire is like hell, and like death, it cannot be satisfied. They will never be satisfied, man. They gotta take, and will never be satisfied. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. You see that? And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Like, you know, most people, you say, you know, when you do bad, Paul said when he do bad, that which he not do, that which he do, meaning he didn't want to sin, but because he's in the flesh, he sins. It's not the spirit, it's the flesh that sins. But for Esau, it's opposite. You know, when he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. See that? And at the last, he would declare his wickedness, right? Because even though they make these laws that, you know, that, okay, you were born a slave, you are exempt, you know, from being deported. You are a natural, you are a born citizen, you know. That's going to change for the southern tribe here as well. We all gonna fall underneath that yoke, man. When Jacob's trouble come, man, we all gonna have to be, you know, be as pilgrims on this earth. Nobody's gonna be safe from this devil, man. Nobody. So all these Negroes, so-called blacks here in America, you know, pointing their finger and laughing at the northern tribe, thinking, yeah, that's what y'all get. Well, guess what, nigga, you gonna be next. Northern tribe get it first. Southern tribe get it the worst. That's what Apostle Aramla always says. Northern tribe gets it first, southern tribe gets it worst. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras. Chapter 16. And we're going to start at the 37th verse. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. These are the plagues, man. We are in the last days. We're coming into Jacob's trouble. These plagues are coming and they're not slack. Meaning they're going to continue to pick up. And when a woman with a child in the 9th month bringeth forth her child, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Yeah, because when she's about to give birth in her 9th month, and within them hours, man, the pain get worse and worse. You know, 2 or 3 hours get worse, and they don't stop. They don't let up. They don't slack because she's about to have that baby. When she's in the 9th month, they get worse. Within that hour, it done got worse than when she first was in her beginning her 9th month, her 3rd trimester. Them last 2 or 3 hours is worse and worse. And that's the way Jacob's trouble is going to get. This place is going to get worse and worse. This devil is coming down on us hard with full of wrath. This shit just the start. And what you seeing here is that they coming after the northern tribe, right? And they coming after the Israelites. You already see that. They coming for us, Jake. That's who they coming for. The so-called white man is coming for us. You know? It says, even so shall not the plague be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. See that? Those are the plagues the Lord is sitting on this earth, man. He says, O my people, hear my word, make ye ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And that's the way we're gonna have to be on this earth, man. Be like pilgrims. Don't take pride in your house. Take pride in your car. You gotta be ready to move. You know, the elect gotta be ready to move and run to the wilderness or to the woods or whatever. But this house that we're living in, this comfortability that we're living in now, you can't put your trust in this, man. You can't put your trust, well, I'm gonna be all right, I'm gonna be in this house, I'm gonna be guarded. No, because you're gonna probably have to move. You about to have to roll up out of there. You know, when this trouble hits, man. Lord willing, we the elect, and the Lord's gonna take care of his elect. You know, those that's gonna be crying out in the streets for drink. We're gonna have drink and food. We're gonna be happy. But you know, Lord's willing, we hope for elect. It say, verse 41, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Right? You can't have your hope into anything materialistic, man. That's going to save you. Thinking, okay, well, I got enough stuff here that I done saved up. You know, this will get me through this Jacob's trouble. You can't do that. You got to have the faith and the hope into Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that when he comes, that you part of that. You take part of that place in the chariot. You know, he that occupieth merchandise as he that have no profit by it, and he that buildeth as though is that shall not dwell therein. Right? See, again. You can't put your trust in this stuff, man. You can't trust this stuff that's around you. You know, this things that you can touch, food and water you got stashed up. You got to be able to roll. You know, be quick to roll out if you have to. You say, he that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth a vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as they a widow, and therefore they that labor in vain. Right? Because if you doing that, if you putting your trust in America, thinking that America is going to be great again, that you need to just wait out this time, you know, this bad time that's coming, and it's going to get better in a few months, you sadly awaken. You labor in vain. If you still thinking about saving up your account, your banking account, you know, your savings account, and your retirement coming in 10, 20 years, you laboring in vain. Because we pray this hope for year 2025 is the year of the Lord, man. When this devil just go ahead and do what he got to do and bring out that MOTB, which is, we know to be the micro C-HEP. Because once that takes place, then, you know, the rest of the prophecies is going to fly off the table. You know, World War III is going to take place, and Yahweh Shah is going to meet him in the air, man, with his holy angels in them chariots, and he's going to burn down this place with that holy laser beams coming from them chariots. We're going to tear this place up along with the ICBM missiles. It's going to be all over. And our only grace and salvation. So what will happen? What it has to do with Jake? That we pray that we the hopeful elect, we be part of that, take part in them chariots and be changed, you know, given that immortal body. And with that, I hope you edify, call halal Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah by Shem HaKadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Shalom.